Hello, history buffs. Ready for a journey back? Look at this encampment. The spirit of 76 is alive.
Freedom of future. A true patriot savors these moments, but the fight for liberty calls. To the encampment for freedom of future.
For liberty. This is what American patriotism is all about. Look at these flags. They represent our fight for liberty.
The hour our liberty is at hand. For freedom is proper. Secure our liberty. My fellow patriots, the hour of decision is upon us. Let us march forth with courage to secure our liberty.
Welcome to my colonial home. Today, Del Payne's work captures the spirit of we fight for independence. And our freedom. Greetings from the encampment. The spirit of liberty is strong. We will fight for our rights and our freedom.
Hour is late. We must enact. To the encampment for liberty. Soldiers, the enemy is near. Front line, flapping.
Hey, it's Mia. Thank you for being with us today on Wednesday because it's True Crime Day. And we are going to be going through two very interesting cases today. The first one is going to be a new serial killer in Philadelphia. And then we will be covering the last few days of the Lindsay Clancy trial. And I am your host for Wednesday night's True Crime. It's Mia.
I'm Bray Mars.
I'm Kamal.
Hi, I'm Kim.
So we are going to start with our new serial killer in Philadelphia.
Plus the missing person ID. He had illegal weapons. He had large amounts of drugs on him. He had that missing person's ID. There was all kinds of crazy stuff going on. They pulled him over. 26. It's Eugene Horsch. This all started when he was pulled over 2 months ago in June of 2026. He was pulled over alongside an unnamed female that had the ID belonging to Blair Tonzelli, which is a girl that's been missing for more than 3 years. So she might be one of the victims as well. So what we know is that Eugene Horsch has a house in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. When the DEA searched the house, because when they pulled him over, he had so many charges that it was unreal. Plus the missing person ID. He had illegal weapons. He had large amounts of drugs on him. He had that missing person's ID. There was all kinds of crazy stuff going on. They pulled him over. So they did a DEA search on his house. What they found is truly shocking, and I'm surprised we haven't seen more of it on the mainstream media. They might just be scared to let people know that people like this could be your next door neighbor. They found more than 700,000 images of what appeared to be RAPE and death. They found more than 60,000 videos containing the same subject material, more than 10,000 hand-drawn drawings and manuscripts, etc. This evidence is huge. We're talking about almost 1 million things of evidence they're having to go through. So they start going through them, thinking that it's just stuff that he's downloaded off the dark web and he's just a sick individual. But they're looking for this Blair girl, right? Well, when they're looking through the videos, they realize, hey, some of these videos and photos are from inside of this house. And they only went through roughly about 5% of the data. So only 5%. And they already found out that he is definitely responsible for the murders of 4 women. But they haven't found their bodies. It's just videos and photos of him doing things to them and then them dead in the videos and stuff. Gabrielle had been missing since 2012. And Maribel went missing in 2018. Now, the other 2 women that are believed to be involved in this is Blair, which, you know, she's missing since 2023. Supposedly, her father and Eugene's father had some kind of drug arrangement originally planned out. they found a giant grow house in his basement and a humongous stash of illegal weapons. So this guy's into like every single bad thing you could be into, essentially. And the other woman was Amy McHale, and she also had ties to him. She was actually married to Eugene's father, so she would have technically been his stepmother. Now, we don't have videos and photos of them yet. They're still going through everything. We have videos and photos of the other two, though. And then we also have 5 urns containing human DNA, human remains. And we don't know who those 5 urns belong to. Now, here's the crazy part, is Blair actually told people days before she went missing that this crazy guy comes over to my dad's house and talks about melting people in these giant barrels. And that might explain why we haven't found any bodies yet. Because in these giant barrels that they found in his home, there was some kind of oil-like chemical substance that they are still analyzing right now to figure out what it is and what it does. My bet is it's some kind of acid that will completely vaporize, bone, skin, and everything. This story is still developing. But already, we know that there are potentially 10 bodies involved in this already. And we've only gone through 5% of the evidence. So we're waiting to hear who that unnamed woman was. Was she somebody that had Stockholm Syndrome and was forced, she was held captive by him? Or is she somebody that was a lure? We do see a lot of modern cases of a female lure being involved. And that's gone back for a while, but we're just now hearing a lot more about it. Especially when it comes to human sex traffickers and stuff. A woman is much easier to get somebody lured into a location where the attack can take place. So we don't know who she was yet, or why she seemed to be a willing participant carrying around an ID belonging to another woman. So we're going to find out. There's a reason why she's remained unnamed at this point. So we'll see that coming up. It looks like he might be doing the classic trope, though, of hunting down people that were already in this drug world that might not be
So what do we think? New serial killer in Philadelphia.
Crazy story. I think the craziest part he said was a female lure. So were these people lured in by a female to get other females? I thought that was kind of crazy. That was the craziest part that I heard about the whole thing. And it seems like we haven't had a serial killer in a while with all the cameras and technology. I thought that was going to be an extinct profession.
I mean, if anything, it's probably, I would assume we would have more at this point in time. I mean, people have access to God knows what on the dark web to feed their addiction or psychosis that they're going through. So, because I'm a geek, I have a trusty whiteboard. So we're going to go over who this man is, because there was a lot of information, girl. I got the ADHD.
Mia said she came prepared.
I ain't going to remember everything. So
Mia's that meme.
So I will say white people are not beating the allegation because this is a 44-year-old white male. They're not beating any allegations at all whatsoever. And this is the house. As you can see, there's boarded up windows and whatnot. So that is literally the house. Not beating any allegations. It looks like a serial killer lives there.
He's probably ordering that. What was that acid Jeffrey Epstein ordered 300 gallons of? The one that disintegrates people. Sulfuric acid.
Yes, I would not be shocked at all. All right, so his name is Eugene Horsch. He's 44-year-old white male. Like I said, not beating any serial killer allegations at all whatsoever. He's a white male. All right, so it all starts in June 19th of this year. He was arrested, coincidentally, by fishing game, by a game warden. Imagine being arrested randomly by a game warden. That is interesting. But he was arrested by a game warden with illegal weapons, a fake ID, a fake FBI ID, actually. Yeah, a regular fake ID, and a fake FBI ID. And there was also another female in the car. So the female in the car had a deceased person's ID on her as her fake ID. So the plot thickens there. So we have victim number 1, Blair Tonzelli, who is a missing person. She is listed on the National Registry of Missing People. Her ID was in this random woman's possession with this Eugene Horsch. So they arrest him. And then obviously they get warrants to go to his house. and he has a almost $10,000 marijuana growing operation amongst other drugs in his home, amongst some more illegal weapons as well in his home. Those 5 urns of human remains, but they have not been able to ID those 5 urns of human remains. So right now they're calling it the Olney murders because it's in this Olney section of Philadelphia on Chew Street, which is kind of funny that the house resides on Chew Street and we have a serial killer, with urns, super
Wait,
weird.
why?
I thought that was kind of funny. I'm getting there. So part of their investigation is they actually excavated his sewer line to see if they were testing for human remains, to see if they could find any human remains. They dug up his backyard and all of that stuff, which ties into why I think it's kind of ironic that he lives on Chew Street since they are going through his sewer lines. So they have positively ID'd 2 women that he has killed. They have the footage of them alive over a period of time, and then now they are deceased, and they have the footage of them being deceased in his home, kind of the progression of his rape and torture. So the first one is a Maribel. She went missing or was listed missing in 2018. At the time, she was 27 years old. However, they're unsure of how long she was missing before. That is basically, a lot of these women appear to be easy targets, transient, aka homeless, drug users, and so on and so forth. So she could have been missing for months or years before her family or somebody got around to the authorities to reporting her missing. But she was reported missing in 2018. So she has been positively ID'd as one of his victims. So that's victim number 1. And then we have victim number 2, a Gabriela Amarando. She was 22 years old at the time. She was reported missing in 2012. So for right now, the timeline for us with this Eugene Horsch starts in 2012 when his first victim was reported missing. So right now, those are 2 positively ID victims of his. However, there could potentially be up to 10. The plot thickens, though, because we have that Blair Tonazelli, who he had the fake ID, and he gave the fake ID to his little female compatriot in the car. So we can surmise that that's probably a victim number 3. And then victim number 4, to add a little bit of weirdness to it, is a woman named Amy McHale, who is his stepmother. She was married to Eugene Horsch's father. She was listed missing in 2016. So far we have 2012, 2016, and 2018. And we have 4 women and counting. And they have like over 1.5 million images. They've only gone through like 5% of, this man was very prolific in his online footprint. Skeptic, what do you think about all this?
That's insane. Wait, so not only could it be that it's like random, but also women in his circle, like in his
Yes.
like, that is wild. That means that he is very sure in his capabilities. You don't get that. You don't get that bold just from like one day to another, or even for a couple of years. But like the majority of the time, when you look at serial killers, they're staying away from their community. When you see people like what's his name, the one that he liked to eat people. He liked to eat.
Oh,
Jeffrey
Bundy?
Dahmer. Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Dahmer.
Dahmer.
Yeah.
When Dahmer starts attacking people in his community, it was because he did and was sure that the police were not going to come after him and they would give him the benefit of the doubt because he was a white man living in a community that was not white.
Mhm.
So for him to be attacking people from his own family or that are like connected to his family, this man is very sure in himself that he knows how to cover this up and what he's doing. It's crazy. I heard what you had said too, where they haven't even begun to start going through the pictures of women, and he had videos and pictures, and the reason why the wildlife officer stopped him was because he was parked illegally
Mhm.
in a police officer's parking spot, and he heard a woman say, "You're going to hurt me. Stop, you're going to hurt me." And they were doing illegal drugs in the car. From what the police, from that wildlife police officer, when he looked at them, he was like, he could see paraphernalia. So like they just really were, I don't know, it's crazy.
They were sketchy. Hold on, here's this.
Searching the first hard drive, homicides detectives found the images and video of what appeared to be 2 deceased females. Those females have been identified. We know who they are. This is new territory for the homicide unit in Philadelphia. Usually when we have a homicide investigation, we have a body, we have body parts. This time we do not.
So they don't have any bodies yet. I have a feeling eventually we're going to come across some bodies. So I did do some screen grabs of kind of the breakdown of the timeline of the sequence of events. So, you know, starting in June, what they found, what happened, the days that it happened, just for everybody, including the audience, to kind of look at and get a feel. So this has happened pretty rapidly, like June 19th, and it's in August. So all of this stuff has like happened pretty rapidly. I mean, appeared to be a home lab with several containers of unknown oily substance. Unknown oily substance. Yeah.
It's
Weird.
probably that acid, that Jeffrey Epstein acid thing.
Kamal, what do you think?
It be your own kind, don't it?
Crazy.
Shit. God damn. Nah, but I know about all these serial killer shits because, believe it or not, I be watching a lot of horror films and shit like that, and it, you know, a lot of horror shows, and they talk about all these serial killers from Ted Bundy to Dahmer to all the rest of them, right? And I mean, the MO seems the same. What's his trophy? I wonder what his trophy is gonna be, because they all have trophies. It's gonna be a toe ring, or you know what I mean, a left ankle. Like, what's gonna be his trophy? I don't know, right?
I think it's the pictures and videos, right? Because he had pictures
no.
and
Sometimes
videos.
with serial killers, it like, I don't know. Sometimes it might not be pictures and videos and shit. It's like, did they say it was pictures and videos though, Skeptic?
But what do you mean by trophy?
So with every serial killer, they keep something like a trophy, like the woman's hair, or like they'll keep a piece of clothing, right? Or what was that? It was one serial killer that kept pictures and had dates on them. So they keep some type of fucking trophy from their victim, and that's what I mean by trophy. So I wonder what's it gonna be. And usually that's how they get caught up, though.
I mean,
90% of the times they get caught up because the detective finds out a certain piece of something is missing, or these niggas just leaving the evidence in plain sight. I think Jeffrey Dahmer did that shit. Just leave shit in plain sight, right? Jeffrey Dahmer, what was his trophies? Was it?
Didn't he collect heads?
Yeah, he collected body parts, right? Memorabilia.
Yeah, a body part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, so far they've gone through 600,000 images, 70,000 videos, and 10,000 drawings. 10,000 drawings? What?
Wait, what?
10,000 drawings, girl. 600,000 images.
That's what they've gone through?
That's what they've gone through. That's 5% of what this man had in his home.
What the fuck?
5% of what he had in his home. That's crazy.
Hold on.
I can't wrap my mind around this.
Hockner. Bro, give one of the serial killers that didn't have trophies. Go look that shit up, bro. All of them have trophies, and that's how they usually get caught up. Because they be just leaving their trophies out and about most of the time.
Yeah, I think majority of them do have some kind of compulsion where they cannot help but like keep some type of, like, I don't know, it's like a memory to them, or like symbolic gesture that reminds them of the crime that they did, because they relive it through either looking at it. I remember there was one guy, and he wasn't a serial unaliver, but I think he like raped women, and he would keep trophies from them too, and he would give them to his wife to wear. It was really disgusting. And then I guess he would relive his memory through watching his wife wear rings or earrings that belonged to his victims. It was crazy.
It says many serial killers keep trophies or souvenirs from their victims to maintain a sense of power. relive their crimes, and fuel future fantasies. These items range from personal belongings to driver's license and jewelry and human body parts. Ugh. Ugh.
There you go, you dumbasses in the chat. You dimwits.
Ooh.
Oh, a simple Google search, you idiots. God damn. Shit.
All right, here's this. I found this.
After only being able to review a small amount of that digital evidence. Philadelphia police continue to block off access to the home of 44-year-old Eugene Horsch on 2 Avenue
he's
in Albany.
ugly.
As detectives
Oh, God,
review
like you
evidence of what police say will be an
beaten
extensive and lengthy investigation that could bring them back inside the home for additional searching. Wednesday, police announced a search of the first hard drive recovered from the home, found images and videos depicting the bodies of 2 women, identified by police as 27-year-old Maribel Freixas, who was last seen in 2018. She's pictured here on NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, and 22-year-old Gabrielle Amorando. Sources say their injuries were visible, but police have not found their bodies, and as a result, the medical examiner's office cannot provide a death certificate or official cause of death. Amorando's childhood best friend tells Fox 29 that they didn't talk as much as they got older, but she never imagined to hear this update.
There's so much more to her than what is coming out right now, and that's what I would prefer people focus on, right? Like the person that she was, the beautiful soul and person that existed for so long.
While combing through evidence will be the heavy lift, investigators say they are also working hand in hand with longtime missing persons detectives within the Special Victims Unit. That team has DNA on all women from Kensington that have gone missing, which could play a part in this ongoing investigation. On Wednesday, Inspector Ray Evers said they know there are people out there that have visited this home.
I think closure is important in some of the families. From the small portion of videos that we saw, we know some people are alive and they've been interviewed. Some people are still missing.
The investigation launched in June after Horsch was arrested in Center City. Police said they found him and a woman in a vehicle with drugs, 2 loaded guns, and a fake DEA badge.
Yeah.
That is a face only a mother could love. And
No.
I don't understand why any woman in their right mind would ever get into a car. You would have to be on drugs. They would have to be on drugs. There's no way. That man looks like he eats people.
Yes, he does. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Imagine living on that street and then from one day to another, you see policemen digging up shit in the back, pulling up all this stuff, and you see all this stuff in the news. That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm surprised nobody's reported him just by the way he looks. If I see a guy on the street like this, I'd be like, that guy did something. You need to call the police. This guy.
You can't just report niggas because they ugly though, Kim. God damn.
I would report this guy.
Right.
Officer, he's so ugly, he must be committing crime.
Exactly. And I don't mean ugly in the sense just a pure aesthetic. He looks evil. You know what I mean? He looks like he's done. Oh God, I don't want to stare at him anymore.
Gray, what do you think about our new potential serial killer coming right out of Philadelphia?
Coming right out of Philadelphia, big cities makes it a lot easier to get people because, like they say, he had all these drugs, like you were saying, the drugs. So with the lady, they showed it looked like what they showed from her, it was like a mugshot. So he probably was getting victims that were easy to get, that were on drugs. Philly's a big city, so you get someone that like drugs and then sneak them in the house, and then you can take advantage of them. Mm-hmm. So I know Kim's he's so ugly, but that's probably why they trusted him. They probably said, okay, this guy can't beat the cops, and that's how they're an easy victim.
You know what I find interesting is how a lot. So he had that massive marijuana grow operation. I'm presumably probably in his basement or his first floor, right? So why did the electric company not bust that? So one of the first people to alert police when it comes to grow operations is the electricity company, because they realize, wow, you're consuming so much electricity, because marijuana plants need water and they need copious amounts of light, which obviously uses a lot of wattage of the electricity. So I'm surprised the electrical company didn't alert the police sooner, or at all, I should say.
why are you surprised? Why are you surprised that they didn't? This man right here, I know he looked like an orc and all, but he has a certain complexion. We shouldn't be surprised when they get away with most of things.
Well,
Jeffrey Dahmer remember he had his one victim run out the freaking house and the police brought him back? I'm just saying, I'm just not surprised when any of these mother effers be getting away with literally murder for the most part.
True. I am a little surprised though, because I live in a primarily white area, and a lot of the large grow operations do get busted up by the police because the electric company snitches. It'll be the utility companies. They be snitching. And it's them snitching that usually a lot of these people get busted, especially if it's like in barns or anything suspicious. And they're like, wow, why is this one building utilizing all of this electricity?
Mm-hmm.
And then they send the police.
This reminds me of those movies where like they get pulled over for a traffic ticket and then they're like warlords and then they end up being horrible people. But honestly, this is you can't script this. I can't remember what story. Oh, the other kids that were dealing drugs in that Ivy League. That story has me so entertained. This is more entertaining. Real life is more entertaining than a lot of these movies and shows. This is crazy. I can't wrap my mind around 10,000 hard drives. That's only 5% of what he has. What, like, that, I can't even, man, when it all comes to an end, I'm curious as to, like, how many victims they actually find. And, the part that got me was they said that they found some victims that were still alive and interviewed them. How do those victims get away and not, like, report anything? That's weird.
Well, I mean, you're dealing with a population who have had so many run-ins with police. Most of them are just trying to make it on a day-to-day basis, and half the time they are incapacitated to realize where they are, what they're doing, or anything like that. And honestly, if you escaped this house, I don't even know if I'd say a word. I'd be like, I escaped. I got unescaped. I'm never going back. So, I mean, I guess I can't fault anybody if they were afraid and not snitching about what's happening.
I think one of the videos that they had of the missing people was from was born in 1990s. So they had been missing since 2012. So he's been doing this for a while. I think also like how bold he is, like you were saying, when people start getting away with things. He did have a drug charge, so he was on probation. So I just feel like, I don't know, like his probation officer was obviously not, I don't know, looking at him thoroughly, because when you're on probation, don't they like check your house, especially if it's for drugs? You would think that they would be going over to his house, and I'm sure that you could have seen he's growing a whole operation of marijuana in his house. How are you on probation and they weren't? I mean, the system, normally people like this that get through the system, that, you know, understand that they can get by with things, they get bold and start doing this type of thing. We could have stopped this possibly if, like, you know, his probation officer, or if, I think they gave him a plea deal with the drugs that he had. So if he would have been arrested and kept in jail, we could have saved some lives.
Wow.
Yep. All right. So now that we're done with the serial killer, we're gonna move on to Lindsay Clancy. And just as a little fun palate cleanser, I found this video that I thought was highly entertaining.
God damn it. I try to stay out y'all business so y'all can stay out of. But Lindsay, nah.
Lindsay.
Y'all gonna have to come up out there when she ain't do it. You telling me if the kids in the basement, she over the window clock, and he tell y'all she did, and y'all believe him? Man, stop playing with me. Y'all better let her go. Stop playing with me, and y'all better let her go.
Hold on, we gotta watch the entire first part, because that is the best.
Damn it, I've been watching Lifetime movies all my life, and I know when a nigga trying to kill his wife.
Oh my
Lindsay
God.
Clancy, she didn't do it, goddammit. I gotta stay out there business so y'all can stay out there.
Not Lifetime
But
movies.
Lindsay
Has prepared us for this. Maybe that's why we like it so
y'all
much.
gonna have to come up
Lifetime
out there when
prepared us
she ain't doing. So you telling me if the kids in the basement, she over the window, and he tell y'all she did, and y'all believe him? Might stop playing with me. Y'all better let her go.
I'm not
Stop
gonna
playing with
lie.
me, and
I like
y'all
how she said her
better
name.
let her go.
Since the last live that we did, I have seen more information that I think is questionable. I think at the very, very least, they need to question the husband and the brother. I think is that the husband's brother because they look a lot alike, and I feel like
Oh, it's the best friend. Him and his best friend.
yeah, him and his best friend look a lot alike, and I feel like the surveillance video could potentially they could have passed as each other. It's very questionable to me. I don't know.
Interesting.
There's a lot of new details that people like. The internet is undefeated. I will say, if
Yeah.
put the internet on the case because they're gonna find they will go through that second per second. They even recognize that his shoes, he changed his shoes. That is very weird, and they're not even similar to each other. They're tennis shoes and dress shoes. You can tell it's a big difference between them. I don't know.
I saw the clip of his mom, the husband's mom, testifying on her behalf, and I almost teared up. Because then after she leaves the stand, she looks at Lindsay and she gives her a nice little nod, and I was like, ah. She has her back. She thinks she's innocent, but his mom testified on her behalf. She's like, nope, she was a great mother. She needed help. She was a great mother. It was so emotional.
All right, Greg, come to the front. You were saying that you did some research. What did you learn, my guy? It's been 1 week. What did you learn?
I learned the same thing that Skeptic was talking about. I saw the clip where they zoomed in on him at the restaurant, and they showed the shoes because you and the CVS, like you said last week, that took a long time. It was on 3 minutes away, and then the hair in the second screenshot really didn't look like him, and so it was kind of like, okay, maybe something might have happened with the father. The other thing that I saw was that she's raised a bunch of money for GoFundMe. So people are helping her out with that. And I saw that they have a civil lawsuit against the psychiatrists. It was like 13 of them that were helping her. They have a civil lawsuit against them saying that they weren't doing proper medical care with her. So I saw us a lot of issues with the case, but the biggest thing was with the father. Like, did the father have something to do it? Because neither the prosecution or the defense are trying to say the father, even though the internet sleuths are the ones that are seeing all this footage and all this stuff with the father.
Well, the thing with trials, though, you have to admit everything before the actual trial date. It's very limited things into what you can admit during the trial date. So it would have been everything before the trial date that would be admitted in as to evidence and admitted like depositions, anything. So it really just depends on what criminal court it is and what the judge allows. But I think it is a failure. Also, shout out to her lawyer. He's a really good lawyer. He is a really, really good lawyer. Her lawyer is top notch. And he's really old too, and he still has it, and he's really good. I've seen some clips of him, and he's doing a really good job representing her. I don't know if this would qualify for like a mistrial, but I think that the evidence that's being presented doesn't match all the evidence that I've been seeing on the internet. So the internet's doing a better job at investigating this. I think there's some things that could have been done a lot better. They should have investigated the husband. He's very suspicious. He's also very ugly. It's a show about ugly men today.
Did they stop the trial? Because I heard that the trial was paused or something today. They said that.
We're gonna get to that. I have that clip. But yes, so today would have been day 16, and they did abruptly say we are not continuing anymore, basically stating extenuating circumstances. Obviously, they did not list extenuating circumstances, so now we are just all going to speculate. It could be something with the judge himself. It could be something, with the jury members, but he made it sound like extenuating circumstances. We are just stopping. Don't hold it against the trial or anything, just extenuating circumstances. So it could have been like a family medical emergency for somebody. For the prosecution. It could have been the judge himself. So they'll resume hopefully tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information. Maybe somebody will leak some more information, but I'm not surprised that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that this is happening, because I watched the Karen Reed trial every day like I was addicted to crack, and it just goes to show that you can't trust police. I trust police even less now than I did before I watched the Karen Reed trial. I mean, she got a not guilty because they proved all of the police officers, including the state police, conspired to frame her for her boyfriend's murder. And that is fucking wild. Watching all of it, and this just feels very Karen Reed. There's a lot of loose ends. There's a lot of questions. You're an officer, and you show up to a crime scene with three dead kids and a half-dead lady in the back, and one man on two legs, presumably fine. And you don't question him at all. You just take it for face value. Just like it's every day you find three dead kids and a crazy lady half dead and outside in her skivvies. And it's just like every day, like, oh, no worries. We're going what you say, sir. I mean, it's a lot of it is just like so crazy to me, because I couldn't imagine coming across that scene and just being like, well, the only person that's like alive and well, I'm just gonna take their word for it. You're good. I'm just gonna take your word for it.
Remove police immunity. Let police officers get sued, and any settlement amounts, instead of coming from public funds, let it come from their retirement funds. Sorry guys, I got an Amber Alert. Sorry. Remove police immunity and let them be sued, and let the settlement amounts come out of their retirement funds, and that'll fix that problem.
All right, so I do have some clips. They're going to be longer clips because it's just easier to have other people explain it. And I wasn't able to get to Walmart to buy another whiteboard. I was going to buy 2 whiteboards and swap them out, but I didn't get to Walmart today, so please forgive me.
Worked
so
at the cyber
last
crimes
week
unit.
we left
The prosecution
off
first asked him
on
about a
day
Surface Pro
12,
laptop
so
that was
this
found
is
in the
day
home,
13.
and more specifically that a site was visited on that laptop about how to take one's own life and methods to do so. However, the sergeant then clarified that this all started from a Wikipedia page. Day 13 of the Lindsay Clancy trial was a huge turning point in the case. Here's everything you need to know. The first person to take the stand was a sergeant in the police department who also worked at the cyber crimes unit. The prosecution first asked him about a Surface Pro laptop that was found in the home, and more specifically that a site was visited on that laptop about how to take one's own life and methods to do so. However, the sergeant then clarified that this all started from a Wikipedia page on Tom Hall, a famous musician who took his own life. But Kevin Reddington said it was most likely Patrick who was making these searches because 1, he was a big Tom Hall fan, 2, the activity included Patrick's email being used to access Lindsay's Facebook account, and 3, Lindsay wasn't even home. She was at a pediatrician appointment for her son at the same time these searches were being made. Next, the person that did the forensic analysis on Lindsay's
I'm going to pause it right here because one of the biggest things for the prosecution was that she was researching, suicide and all of these things. And come to find out, it wasn't even her. She was actually at a doctor's appointment with her kids. So very clearly this stuff was happening at home, and it was Patrick researching all of these things. Not Lindsay, because they were trying to use these searches as a way to say it was premeditated on her part because she was searching this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Come to find out that these items were being searched on the Surface Pro, and we already know the Surface Pro is his personal work laptop that is located in the basement. So actuality, it wasn't her making these searches, it was Patrick.
No, somebody right about that.
Yeah.
Took the stand, and he was asked to read a note that Lindsay wrote on her phone. In the note, she talks about being very sad and depressed that she's not able to prioritize all of her kids, specifically Cal. She does say she wants to have more kids, but is struggling internally and with her medication, and she just wants to be happy so that she can give all of her love to her kids, to her husband, and to herself. She says she knows things will be okay, but it's really hard for her. He was then asked to read messages between Patrick and Lindsay on the day of the crime. In the morning, they messaged about Cora's physical appointment where Lindsay said her urine looked good, so nothing wrong with her kidneys, phew, and Patrick responded, "Oh wow, you're a good mama." They then texted again around 5 about the takeout food and what each of them were gonna order. He also said Lindsay searched for the restaurant on Apple Maps and the two exchanged multiple calls after 5 p.m. that day. Kevin Reddington then came up and brought up searches made on that phone that appeared to be from Patrick's email as well. The searches were corroded artery, how to slit your and unalive, and the third one was how to turn off the airbags of a Kia Sorento, which was Lindsay's car at the time. Then this
We have to pause it there. Who researches how to turn off the airbags of their vehicle unless they're trying to do something nefarious? But now it's Patrick that's searching these things.
Wait, was this all? Was he deposed on this? Like, this is like, I'm shooketh. So, what? This was all evidence.
Yes.
Known before the trial. Right. He's saying they brought it up during the trial.
Yeah, so the prosecution didn't bring it up when they questioned Patrick, but now that it's the defense's turn, they will call Patrick and they will talk to him about all of this stuff.
Okay.
So the prosecution at this point in time hasn't wrapped yet. They wrap on day 15, I believe, early 15, and then it switches to the defense. So now today we're in defense mode, but this is day 13 because I'm trying to backtrack to get everybody from last week caught up to this week.
Except they fucking paused the trial for some reason.
Yes.
Person took the stand who was the lead investigator of the police unit. He said that he actually went into the home so that he could see the crime scene for himself. And he said he did not see BLOOD spatter all over the walls like Patrick had previously stated. He said it was not sprayed everywhere at all, but it did look like someone hurt themselves and then possibly jumped out the window. He also showed the jury a video of the family at the Museum of Science before the crime was committed.
I saw this
Rest
video.
in peace to those poor kids. Let me know what you guys think about this, and as the trial continues next week, I'll keep you guys updated.
Yes. So that is just a brief overview of day 13. So now I'm going to pull up day 14.
Right.
Really quick question.
About the extraction.
Yes.
Oh, I would have waited. Sorry. She pled guilty, right? She's saying she did it?
She technically pled not guilty.
But she has admitted
it would be by reason of insanity, or Massachusetts version of reason of insanity. Because at the time she was mentally not capable of understanding what she was doing at the exact moment that this crime has happened.
But she has testified that she did it. Right?
No, actually, she did not get on the stand and do it. She has not denied doing it, but she actually has not taken the stand and testified that she has committed this.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you for answering that. Sorry.
That he did in the review of data from Lindsay's iPhone and the paired Apple Watch. Now, he talked about a lot of things that had already been testified to through prior witnesses, her cell phone activity, searches, and calls. So I'm going to focus this recap on the
I chose this recap because she shows a lot of information on screen, which is nice
on
to have.
January 24th, 2023, and that was 57 beats per minute. He also testified about Apple Health recorded stare activity on the same day, January 24th, between 5:33 and 5:38 p.m. Whiffen explained that Apple groups those events, so it does not mean that someone was continuously walking stairs for 5 minutes. Here's a summary of that health data, including the heart rate and stare activity for anyone who would like to see it. On cross-examination, Attorney Reddington focused on limitations of that data. Whiffen agreed that once the devices stopped recording movement, he could not say where Lindsay went or what she did without those devices, being her phone or her Apple Watch. Reddington also pointed out that Apple Health recorded steps on January 25th when Lindsay was hospitalized in a coma and she was incubated. That showed that the data itself does not necessarily establish that Lindsay personally.
And she meant intubated. Just so we're clear, she meant intubated, not incubated. Just so we're clear.
That makes sense.
She meant intubated, which is when a breathing tube is inserted down your trachea so you can breathe, or a machine will breathe for you artificially.
Yeah, because I didn't know what either one meant, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a breathing tube, and a machine will essentially artificially breathe for you. They usually do it a lot of time for sedation. In Lindsay's case, she had coded twice, so she had in theory died twice. And yeah, so they figured it was best that the machine breathe for her, and I agree.
Made every move that was recorded. After the Commonwealth rested and outside of the jury's presence, Attorney Reddington asked the judge for a required finding of not guilty, or alternatively for the first-degree charges to be reduced to second degree. He argued that the Commonwealth's own case had already introduced extensive evidence regarding Lindsay's mental health, her repeated attempts to get help, and the medications that she was prescribed. The Commonwealth opposed this motion and pointed out that the Commonwealth still expects to call expert witnesses in rebuttal after the defense presents its case. The judge denied this motion, and the defense then began calling witnesses. The first witness for the defense was Margaret Hamp, a labor and delivery nurse who worked with Lindsay for about 7 years. She described Lindsay as compassionate with patients and said that Lindsay would sometimes become emotional watching complete strangers give birth because she found it so beautiful. She also talked about Lindsay as a mother. When Cora was a baby, Lindsay was working night shift and she would check the baby monitor from work. Hamp said that at this time, Lindsay would not let Cora cry. She just wasn't at that place in motherhood. Well, one night she saw Cora crying on the baby monitor, and after about 10 minutes, she started trying to call Patrick because she was concerned. When Patrick didn't answer the phone, Lindsay called the police in the middle of the night to conduct a welfare check. Hamp said that Lindsay frequently talked to co-workers about children, parenting, sleep, and daycare. She also described a conversation from early in Lindsay's nursing career involving maternal mental illness. A pregnant patient had come in reporting thoughts of harming herself or her child. Hamp then discussed the Andrea Yates case with Lindsay, and according to Hamp, Lindsay became emotional and asked how a mother could hurt her children. The defense then called Lindsay's sister, Allison Ozga. She testified that she and Lindsay were very close, and she began noticing a change in Lindsay around Thanksgiving of 2022. She described Lindsay's mood and energy as different, and by December, Lindsay was telling her that she was in a very difficult place. Ozga described Lindsay as feeling numb and hopeless and said that she had a gut feeling that something was wrong. She asked Lindsay directly whether she was...
I'm going to pause that right there, because obviously she was talking about a gut feeling that something is wrong, and clearly she was going through it. But I bet that was her intuition telling her her husband was cheating on her with his now wife. I mean, I'm gonna throw it out there. That was probably the intuition letting her know her husband was cheating on her with his now wife, because all of the evidence seems to point that that man has been carrying on and had been carrying on an affair for quite a few years with his now wife.
What a
in New York City.
It was way too early. 4 months? 4 months? Your children were murdered and you're over here carrying along a love affair? Like what? Yeah, there's no way. That was way too soon. And she pleaded not guilty because of insanity. And I agree. I agree with what he was saying. I think the defense is overreaching with this, because first degree murder, you have to prove that it was with malice intent. You have to prove that it was planned out. It was premeditated. And if they're showing that actually when the searches were conducted on the laptop, it was actually when she was out of the house, that means that she didn't premeditate this. Also, remember that it took him an hour. It took him an exact hour from the moment he left the house to the moment that he came back. And originally, I think we had joked about, yeah, it takes me a long time. I stay in the car and kind of lallygag. Not an hour's worth. And, you know, the more that I thought about it, I was thinking from like my little small hometown, if I go run an errand, I can do everything. I actually wait an hour before I have to pick my daughter up from school to do all of my errands and then pick her up. I have enough time, the same distance that it is from here, like they were saying 5, 6 minutes, 9 minutes, the furthest to get around my town. I can do all of my errands, get to school, pick up my daughter, and probably make it back home in like an hour and 25 minutes. So he was gone for a very long time in a small amount of like very small area where he could have gotten around very quickly. It doesn't make sense.
And then he changed his clothes, he changed his shoes. I mean, at minimum, I don't think the prosecution has proven anything beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't think they've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that she did said research, that she had malice intent at the time. And they haven't proved beyond a reasonable doubt that she wasn't mentally ill. I feel like that would be like the biggest thing to prove that somebody is mentally competent, right? If I'm trying to say that I'm insane, especially at that point in time, you would want to prove that no, this person's perfectly fine. Like they're thriving, they're good, it's living the vida loca. But they have yet to prove any of that. If anything, I mean, they are helping, in my opinion, the defense. They've called all these witnesses who have all said the same thing, every single one of them, to, you know, Kim's credit, the former mother-in-law, the nanny, her sister. I mean, basically her former coworkers, they all have said the same thing, that she was a devoted mother and that she was mentally ill. They all have said the same thing. She was a devoted mother and she was going fucking through it.
I just looked up she was on a lot of different medications. She was on like
13.
She was on 4 different prescribed SSRIs, and then she was taking more medications on top of that, not including the ones she took to try to off herself, allegedly. This is insane. And also, SSRIs don't work.
Yeah, and what you
SSRIs
said,
do not work.
we had covered in the first episode. What you had said, actually, I heard it in court because they were asking the question. She had a bottle, and there were only 7 pills left. They were asking her doctor, I want to say it was her psychologist, they were asking him, why would she only have 7 pills of this bottle left? And they asked him the date, and he said, I think we changed her prescription around that time. So I do think, because you were saying she's a nurse, she knows how to take her medication. So if they were changing her from this to that, then she would have all these pill bottles that are like halfway open, and then they were dosing her higher. So she was not using, obviously, the lower dosage of medication.
Right. And she allegedly was giving them to her husband. I mean, per what he stated himself, like he was receiving her medications and she was giving the old bottles to him for him to dispose of. So, I mean, that's why they found within his possession, he had quite a few pharmaceutical scripts in his possession. So, at minimum, this case is very intriguing, and obviously we all grew up watching CSI Las Vegas because that's the OG one, and we also grew up watching a lot of these true crime. And Lifetime really taught us. Lifetime really taught us.
Also, our intuition. Us women, you know, we are intuitive. Like, we know. We just know. Just by looking at him. He had a motive.
That she was. By the end of December, Ozga said she understood that Lindsay had been experiencing thoughts of self-harm every day for approximately a month. After Lindsay's stay at McLean Hospital, Ozga said Lindsay initially seemed hopeful about the treatment plan and believed that she was beginning to improve. About 2 weeks before January 24th, 2023, Ozga saw Lindsay at Cora's birthday party. She said that Lindsay looked tired and seemed like she was simply going through the motions.
Because her husband wouldn't help her.
On cross-examination, the Commonwealth pointed out that Ozga had previously told investigators that Lindsay appeared okay at the birthday party. Ozga is also a licensed social worker and mandated reporter, and she acknowledged that she never reached a point where she believed Lindsay or the children were in enough danger that she needed to make a report. Lindsay's mother, Paula Musgrove, then testified. She described Lindsay, before these mental health concerns began, as a loving and involved mother who always wanted children. She then talked about October 20th, 2022, when Lindsay sent her a message asking her to come to Massachusetts because something was wrong. According to Paula, Lindsay was dealing with severe insomnia, believed an anxiety medication was making things worse. She was frightened and she did not want to be alone. Paula drove from Connecticut to Lindsay's home that same day, and she stayed for about a week. She said that she and Lindsay's father, Mike, continued spending significant amounts of time with the family over the following months. Paula testified that things were not getting better through November and December. She said Lindsay was losing weight, becoming fearful about things she normally would not have worried about, and at one point asked if she could sleep in her mother's bed because she did not want to be alone. Lindsay also became afraid to drive, so Paula sometimes drove when they picked up the children. Paula said that Lindsay worried that people at the school might notice that her mother was driving and realize that there was something wrong with her mentally. By January, Paula said Lindsay was complaining about memory problems and believed the medications were affecting her ability to think. She repeatedly told her mother that she did not feel like herself and wanted to feel better so that she could enjoy her children again. Paula also testified about something that Patrick previously described when he was testifying. In December, Lindsay approached Patrick and Paula and told them that she had experienced thoughts of harming the children. On cross-examination, the Commonwealth focused on the weeks immediately before January 24, 2023. Paula acknowledged that she checked on Lindsay every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and that Lindsay occasionally told her that she was doing a little better. Paula visited on January 21st and January 22nd, and afterwards she sent Lindsay a message saying that it was nice to see her doing better. Paula testified that she had been trying to encourage her daughter and said that that message did not reflect everything that she was observing. The Commonwealth also established that when Patrick asked Lindsay whether she felt like she could not be alone with the children, Lindsay told him no. Paula did not attempt to have Lindsay involuntarily committed. She did not take her back to Connecticut to separate her from the children, and she testified that she did not believe the children were in danger at that time. The final defense witness today was Dr. Michael Wolfowitz. He's an emergency medicine physician who did not personally treat Lindsay, but he did review her medical records and he testified about the injuries that she sustained on January 24, 2023. Those included injuries to her neck and wrists, severe hypothermia, and the treatment that led to her transfer to Brigham and Women's Hospital. The records also showed that Lindsay suffered cardiac arrest after she arrived there. Reddington repeatedly attempted to ask this doctor whether the severity of those injuries showed that Lindsay's attempt to harm herself was genuine. The Commonwealth objected and the judge sustained those objections. The doctor was not allowed to give an opinion about Lindsay's intent, but he was permitted to say that the injuries were consistent with self-injurious behavior. The Commonwealth did not cross-examine this witness. After the jury left, one other thing happened that hasn't been fully explained yet. The judge called the attorneys to sidebar, and Patrick Clancy's attorney, David Meyer, was brought to the bench. He handed documents to the judge. We don't know what was discussed, we don't know what those documents were, and we don't know if that had anything to do with Patrick potentially being recalled, so I'm not going to speculate what that was or was not, but hopefully we'll learn more tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts on day 14. I will be back with a
Interesting how a presumably innocent man has his own defense attorney. Because, you know, everybody loves saying that to us. Well, if you have nothing to hide. Just very interesting. What do you think, Kamal?
So, hey, Ray, thank you for the jewels, bro. Appreciate it, bro. Let me get this straight. Is it implying that the husband drove this woman crazy to murk her kids? Is that what's being implied?
I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Okay. Hey, look, me, I love what you're doing. I love it, right? But I'm noticing some of the viewers, they gonna be boo-hooing. You making white men look in a bad light right now. God damn. First the serial killer, now this. Jesus Christ.
I mean, statistically.
Uh-oh. I'm not saying it, okay? I'm not saying these things, all right? Damn. But yeah, this case right here, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna just be a thou with y'all. She gonna have to do some fucking time. She gonna have to do some time. She ended up killing them kids. And I'm more for the protection of the kids than anybody. So she gonna have to do some time. Now, if they could catch the husband on some ish or ex-husband or whatever, be my guest. But for sure, she gonna have to do some goddamn time. And I yield the rest of my time to the floor.
Gray, what do you think so far?
I think that this is a wild, wild case. I think the fact that she's paralyzed, I think that's one of the biggest things, and that she admitted it, even though she didn't admit it on the stand. They're saying that she admitted it, that she did it. Well, the reason I brought up her being paralyzed is because she reacted after she did it, so it might be some type of mental psychosis. She may do some time, but I think right now they're trying to get her to be in a mental facility where they want her to basically live her time. And somebody going to prison with that type of injury is definitely going to be hard for her. And with that type of crime, I would assume that the other inmates would, try to get at her, or she would have to be put in an area where she's not going to be attacked, because I know in the prison population, they don't look fondly on doing stuff to children. So I'm not sure as far as the evidence. Like I said, I saw the evidence with the husband as well. So I would want to see where that goes. I would want to get more information on that. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to think. What do you guys think?
I set up a poll for the chat. I think it's working. I don't know. I'm trying here.
I couldn't on YouTube.
So I would like everybody in the chat, I would like everybody to take this poll. Do you think Lindsay Clancy killed her children? Yes, no. Patrick is the former husband. Do you think he did? I would like to get the viewers in on this to see kind of what everybody, gauge where everybody is right now. Because, I mean, she didn't not say she didn't do it, but I mean, they haven't even proved that. They haven't proved anything. I mean, her fingerprints aren't on any of the murder weapons, nothing. So, I mean, it's interesting to me. The knife that was used, that she allegedly used to slit her wrist, no, her fingerprints aren't on that. The exercise bands that were allegedly used to murder the children, no, very little epithelial cells skin cells were found on that, and her fingerprints weren't on it either. But her former husbands were.
So, are we? Is what being implied in court? Bowie said yes. By the way, are we implying that the husband did this shit and threw her out the damn window?
Yes.
Kim's answering for everybody.
I think her husband and his friend, I think both were involved somehow, because I think, I don't know, maybe not the friend. I don't know, maybe because I feel like the way that she was, number one, I think he was overly medicating her. I think that's why he still had some of the bottles of her medication. And then I think that he had moved on. This relationship that he's in is not a new relationship. I think this relationship has definitely been happening. And for whatever the reason, he didn't want to have to deal with her mental health issues. He wasn't helping her the way that he should have. I think that's what the mom was trying to like give some information on, that something was not right. Something was off in the house. And if he wanted out, he's going to look like a bad person to leave his wife while she's going through a mental health crisis, obviously. And I think he was doing that. I think he had left her emotionally and then mentally. And instead of looking like the bad person because he's a sociopath or a psychopath, he just decided, I'll just end all of them. I also think, like, from my perspective, it's not often that women unalive their kids in that manner. Majority of the time, we're like poisoners. Women like to poison a lot or cook things where, you know, like you'll unalive that way. So I think it takes a lot of physical strength to like do that. I'm not saying that it wasn't possible. Obviously, she could do it. She could overpower her children. They were like babies. But the whole her neck, something in her neck was broken, which meant that she had to have tried to either hang herself, or that was broken, and they don't think that her being jumping out of the window would have caused that. So something else had to have happened, and she was so medicated where I don't know that she was even mentally there, can remember really.
I mean, that's solid. I mean, everything about this case is slightly suspicious. Just reviewing some of the evidence, like, just the physical evidence alone is a lot of it is suspicious. The timelines are suspicious. I think at the end of the day, it perfectly encapsulates what's wrong with like the American health system, because she tried her best to get as much help as she could. She was screaming from the rooftops. She did exactly what everybody wanted you to do. Like, when you have a problem, especially if it's mental, you have to say so, right? And she was doing that. She was doing absolutely everything she could potentially do. But, unfortunately, it almost seems like, the system at play as how the system is supposed to work. All right. So this will be a recap of
to call her then
day
husband Patrick
15
in the hospital and encouraged her to tell him that she had heard voices
So this
telling
is
her
the
to kill the children.
psychiatrist she spoke to at
Dr.
the hospital.
Zeisel was called by Kevin Reddington after he became Lindsay's attorney to go check on.
Mind you, before we get into this part, she was still in the ICU. So she was not on a step down unit. She was still in the ICU. And just as like an individual and a professional, I think it was highly inappropriate that this particular psychiatrist gave his personal phone to her for her to, at the time, call her husband, her former husband now. I thought that was very unprofessional and inappropriate. I mean, she was in the ICU. I just don't think it was appropriate for her to be questioned at all outside of the police, because she wasn't even in a normal state of mind. She had literally just been extubated, which is the process of removing the breathing tube. So just my 2 cents on this.
Lindsay. Last week, a witness named Dan Lawler testified that he was stationed outside of Lindsay's room because she wasn't allowed any visitors. He said that he was there when Dr. Zeisel arrived, and he said he did not hear what happened in the room, but later he heard from a coworker that the prosecution's theory was that Zeisel had encouraged Lindsay to tell Patrick that she heard voices. Last week, the prosecution also argued about why he had been allowed to an area behind the scenes in court, aka seeing Lindsay. But last week, the judge ultimately allowed Zeisel to testify. On the stand today, he started by explaining what a clinical and forensic psychologist does, analyzing, among other things, how people present themselves, like people pretending to have a disease or a defect. Reddington asked about Zeisel's conclusions from the testing that was done on Lindsay Clancy, and he said she was not faking, there was no evidence of any malingering, she presented as an honest citizen. Zeisel explained on the stand that he got a call about the case from Reddington late one night in February 2023. He went to Brigham and Women's Hospital to see Lindsay, which, by the way, took a call to the hospital's general counsel and a court order to allow him to see her. And when he went, she was cuffed to her bed. Asked why Reddington asked him to see her, Zeisel said, quote, "You were worried about her mental health given the significant event that had taken place a few days earlier, and given the fact that she wasn't able to have visitors." He recalled that when he arrived, he did a brief mental status exam in which she knew who she was, but not where she was. He said, quote, "She told me that she remembers what happened, but it was very fuzzy and foggy." Zeisel said that Lindsay expressed concern about Patrick since they had had no contact, and she wanted to know where they stood. Zeisel said, quote, "She asked me if she could use my cell phone and if she could call her husband." He said he let her, but it had to be on speakerphone. Patrick didn't answer, and they left a message. And then 2 days later, they called again, and Lindsay was able to speak to Patrick. He said, quote, "She told Patrick that she loved him very much." Zeisel then described Lindsay saying that she heard a male voice ordering her, telling her that she didn't have any choice, but she had to kill her children and then kill herself. Reddington asked Zeisel directly if he told her to make up the voices, and he denied doing so, saying, "I let her call her husband out of human compassion." Zeisel then talked about how he has now met with Lindsay over 45 times, including at the courthouse's lockup, quote, "because the nature of presentation in this court has been gut-wrenching for anyone who would be exposed to such horrific," and then the prosecution cut him off and objected, and Reddington withdrew the question. Zeisel explained that evaluating Lindsay requires that she remains competent to stand trial with good enough mental health. Reddington then went through Lindsay's medical history from before the murders. They spoke about her seeking help, the medication she was prescribed, and how she reacted to them, how she called suicide hotlines and was denied care, etc. Eventually, they talked about how Lindsay voluntarily committed herself to McLean because, as Zeisel said, she was worried about killing herself and had uttered thoughts about hurting her kids. He said, quote, "She felt that people could actually hear her thoughts. Her thoughts were so loud that strangers could hear them, including teachers at her kids' school." Zeisel noted that these issues can cause negative issues for a person experiencing them. He then discussed psychosis and how most cases involve someone hearing voices. He said people who have the disorder have imminent symptoms, which come and go. He said Lindsay only had auditory hallucinations, which can be experienced like waves at the beach. They come and go. Zeisel said people who are experiencing psychosis can still call someone on the phone and agreed with Reddington's statement that they don't have to talk to the unicorn in the corner. That was it for Zeisel's testimony today, but he will be back on the stand tomorrow for the defense to continue questioning, and then it'll be the prosecution's turn to cross-examine him. He's going to be a very important witness in this case, so stay tuned for tomorrow's testimony.
All right, Gray, what are you thinking? Or do you think she is, or at least at the time of the murders, do you think she was mentally ill?
Yes, absolutely. She was hearing voices. What's a unicorn? What does that mean? Was she talking to an actual unicorn, or is that just like a euphemism? Like, what does that mean?
I think it was a euphemism.
Okay. So, yeah, I think she definitely was going through mental issues. She had all this care. I think she should win the civil lawsuit. And the girl in the video just said that she was calling suicide prevention lines. She was doing all of these things. So I feel like the psychiatrist she was seeing and even the suicide prevention lines could possibly be seen as, basically not doing what they were supposed to do. So I think she should maybe get some kind of leniency due to her trying to seek help and this happening. I think even if the father didn't do it directly, it should be some negligence, because I don't know if he had other childcare, but he could have not had the children around her, because if someone's hearing voices, if someone's going through this type of psychosis, I don't think they should be responsible for watching their children.
I agree. What do you think, Skeptic? Do you think at the time that she allegedly committed these murders, do you think she was mentally ill under psychosis?
Yeah, I think she was. The fact that she's saying she thinks that her thoughts are so loud, she thinks that other people can hear her inner thoughts, her like self dialogue. She thinks other people can hear them because they're so loud. That's not normal. So I do think that, I think the case is not strong. I don't think that they are proving this case beyond reasonable doubt. And I think if anything, they've poked holes into the case enough to show that this is not first degree murder. If her defense team is, good, if she has a decent defense team, she should be able to either get off or get a lesser sentence and be able to go to a mental institute instead of going to like a regular prison. I think she needs, help of a different kind. Although I understand that what she did was horrific. If she did do it, that's the other thing. Like if they can even prove that she did it. But I think that there's multiple things going on here. She was failed by the medical system. Like her doctors overly prescribed her. She was at a place where, I think it's easy to speculate what would happen. But sometimes, especially when you're a mom and your body is going through all these changes happen drastically. And like you can't, you don't really know where you're at. You could feel extremely tired at times, and then like you're not eating well, so you're feeling all these different things. I think it was multiple things going on at all at once. It was like this tornado happening all together.
I agree. Kamal, what do you think? Do you think at the time that these alleged murders were committed, do you think she was mentally ill and suffering from psychosis?
They do it to their own kind, don't they? God damn. Jesus Christ. Yeah, she was mentally ill, but I'm tired of that fucking excuse. I'm sorry. Every time a white woman does something crazy, we go to the mentally ill bullshit. Hell, we do it with the goddamn mass shooters too. I'm just so sick of it. Well, let's protect the kids. What happened to that shit? We don't protect kids no more. Ain't nobody talking about the kids. All we talking about is her goddamn mental health. No, let that broad do some fucking time. And if her husband was in on it too, let him do some time too. Somebody made a great point in the chat. They were like, the voice she was hearing was her husband's voice.
It's
Could've
funny
been
you
whispering in your ear.
say that because her husband works, or former husband works in IT. And yeah, is it completely possible to change the voice on an Alexa or anything like that that lives in your house? Sure. Why not? And he wasn't just your run of the mill random IT person. I mean, I believe he worked for Google and he made like $400,000 or $500,000. So he wasn't no low level motherfucker. He made some money. He was making some cash. So
Yo, can I say something, Miss? See, this is what we be telling y'all. Like, look, money can't beat mental health at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Bird had all the bread in the goddamn world. This makes me even more. Now you know what? I might change my answer. Maybe Patrick did do it. You had all that goddamn money. You couldn't give her 10% for some mental health shit.
Hire a nanny or something. You
well,
could've
they
helped.
did. They had a nanny, and then they let the nanny go because Lindsay had decided she was not capable of going to work, which is the right call because obviously she was very much struggling. She clearly was not capable of going back to work and seeing patients. So they did let the nanny go. But at the same time, it's like, why would you do that? Your wife is struggling. She needs help very clearly. Why would you not even try to keep the nanny on part-time to try to alleviate a little bit of help? I mean, and he was leaving her alone. I mean, he was still doing his boys' days. He was still going on trips to New York City, where we come to find out is the exact same city that his current wife lives at, where he lives now in Manhattan with his current wife. Nah, bro. I know the plot thickens, right? The plot always thickens. I mean, he was leaving her alone for ski trips and so on and so forth. So, like, she was deeply mentally ill, and he seemed to not be as supportive as he could have been. I mean, if you're making $400,000, why would you not try to at least keep a little bit of the nanny or consider moving closer to either his parents or her parents so she can have a little bit of help? Like, if your wife is literally fucking crazy, why would you leave her alone with these kids at all? And for the record, you know how many women get charged with neglect or child endangerment if something happens to their child while their child is in the presence of another adult? But this man, whose wife allegedly murdered his 3 children, he was never charged with anything. Like, you know, she's crazy. She's tried to be committed multiple times. She's on all of these drugs. She's admitted to wanting to kill herself and admitted to wanting to harm the children. You left her alone. Wouldn't that be child endangerment at minimum? So the fact that they never charged him with 3 counts of child endangerment or child abuse or anything like that was super crazy to me. And then you come to find out his father and one of his brothers, they're sheriffs and police officers in that county. And you're like, okay, that's why he was never charged.
That system be working. God damn. I do got a question. Did they find any evidence that he was beefing with his kids? Like he had any type of abuse allegation towards his kids, anything like that? Because that'd be a telling sign of evidence.
No,
right?
However, online speculation, this is purely online speculation, is that some of the medical records that have been released concerning the oldest, which was Cora, so she was 5 at the time, was having frequent UTIs and so on and so forth, which could also be indicative of child abuse of the variety that we can't say on YouTube or any of this. So, I mean, that is an online speculation. That is not something that is being brought up in this trial at all whatsoever. That is not being brought up, but that is an online speculation due to some of the medical records that have been released through this trial. Is one of a classic sign, especially in little girls who are being abused, is frequent UTIs and yeast infections and so on and so forth.
You thinking that he was doing a certain thing and then he was like, all right, she kind of talking, so I'm gonna just get them all out of here and she gonna do it for me.
This
Allegedly.
This is purely online speculation. This lives in the confines of like TikTok, Instagram, and online. It is nothing that is being brought up in a criminal report at all whatsoever. So this is all alleged, YouTube and everybody else is listening. But yes, that is the rumors that are happening on the interwebs. On Beyonce's internet, this is the rumor that's happening on Beyonce's internet.
But I mean, he got into a relationship, got married 4 months after this happened to his family. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but between him and Erica Kirk, like, people don't grieve anymore.
They just
Like,
grieve different. They grieve
what's
different.
going on? 2026 is like no grieving needed. Just give me a sparkly suit and like some fireworks. I'm just, that's crazy to me. Also, in a whole other city, like you live, that's in New York. It just so happened to be that's where you were working. We don't find this kind of odd. Because, men have unalived their families, their whole families, and pregnant wives before because they wanted to start.
Yeah, Lacey Peterson. Scott and Lacey Peterson are a very classic case because she was like 8 months pregnant. He had a whole other girlfriend, and you know what happened. So, yeah, I mean, allegedly, also another rumor that is on the interwebs is that he had been looking up apartments, 1-bedroom apartments in New York City, which coincidentally is where he resides now with his new wife. So that as well. I mean, and then there are also pictures that are surfacing of Patrick, his new wife, a district attorney for this Plymouth County, which is the county that this is being out of, all at a Manhattan boating club, yacht club, boating club. I guess these people are all sailors, or I don't know. They do rich people shit. I don't know, man. The ocean and me ain't friends. I love the ocean. I'm a Pisces, but I don't be out there on the boats like that. But they're part of like some sort of boating club, and there's a ton of pictures online. So it's giving very Karen Reed. So any of the viewers, if they are like from Boston, Massachusetts, New England, they know the Karen Reed. It's just giving. I'm not saying there's a cover up, but I'm saying it's giving everybody knows everybody. Everybody's friends with everybody. Everybody has a motive. And he sold the house, which in and of itself is not a red flag. I would obviously sell my house if something that's happened. But he sold the house to a ADA from Plymouth County. So why would who would want to buy a murder house? You are an assistant district attorney. You know exactly what happened in this house. Why would you buy it? That,
and how
again,
much it costs
is fucking weird, right? Tell me that's not like a little bizarro.
That's
little bizarre.
Yeah,
I mean, if that house 50% off, shit.
Come on. I'm dead. No, that's weird.
To answer Ray in the comments, Ray, yes, leaving your family is not a crime, but murdering your children and potentially trying to murder your wife in order to leave your family is considered a crime.
So let me ask this though: is he the one that has the money, or does she have money too, or was she the one like she was kind of broke?
Well, they met when they were in college. I think he comes from I think they both come from decently well-off families. I don't think it was an unequal power balance. However, obviously he would have made more money than her because she was a nurse, a NICU nurse, and a labor and delivery nurse versus him working for a mega tech company. So he obviously would have naturally made more money than her. I don't know a single labor and delivery nurse that makes $400,000. I'll throw it out there. So, I mean, he was making more than her. However, I mean, there's just a lot of puzzle pieces. There's a lot of puzzle pieces happening, and it's the whole thing is very suspicious.
And we will need a part 3 because
yes, it is ongoing. So
yeah, still going on.
It is still going on. So for those of you watching, and I see all of you out there, you need to be subscribing and liking and following because we will have a part 3 next Wednesday for True Crime Wednesday, and we will go over all of the other trial recaps from all of the other days, and hopefully we will have some more information about our super creepy murder house in Philadelphia. hopefully they release some more information and we can follow that case. And I will hopefully have some more cases for you as well. But we will definitely continue to follow this Lindsay Clancy. And next Wednesday, I will have a part 3 where we do some more updates to see what we missed, to catch up. And I hope all of you like and subscribe so you can continue on this journey with us. And if I'm not a good host, zip it. I don't want to hear it. I'm learning. So, there we go. Skeptic. Let's move you up here, dear. What are your final thoughts, my friend?
I will say this is crazy. I do not trust the husband. Again, Lifetime has shown us that it's always the husband that is trying to set up the wife. Happy birthday to Nolan Wells. Today's his birthday. And also Carmelo Anthony, today his judge got recused. So they're going to be, tomorrow they're going to decide, the new judge is going to decide whether or not they're going to have a new trial. So just stay aware of that. And we have 76 days left for midterms. So if you do not know what elections are going on and what primaries have been going on in your state or special elections, get informed. Register to vote because this midterm is important. We need everyone to come out and vote correctly.
Perfect. All right, Kamal. Hit us with it. What are your final thoughts of True Crime Wednesday?
Happy birthday, Nolan Wells. I didn't know it was his birthday and stuff like that. Been hella busy and shit. You feel me? And it's got that. I'm following that Carmelo Anthony case too, very closely. Which, by the way, we had a couple of dweebs put that shit in the chat. Somehow we talking about freaking serial killers in Philly and the goddamn the Lindsay case, and somehow Carmelo Anthony name come up and how blacks ain't shit. Ain't that crazy? That's insane. God damn. But I'm loving this right here. The True Crime Wednesdays. You feel me? And yeah, these cases are very interesting. They give us a different, topic to talk about instead of like either politics or pop culture. You feel me? So, and hey, the Mia, the whiteboard and stuff like that. Next time you got to get the glasses next, the reading glasses, and got to make them down when you and get the pointing thing. Like buy out. I will say this though, brighter colors though. It's a little hard to read. You want some brighter colors so we can read.
I have pink. I have pink, neon pink.
That might work. Neon pink might work. It make it easier to read. But yeah, this was very interesting. I do want updates on the Lindsay case because that is like, yeah, I'm not going to imply that the ex-husband did it, but he might have stirred the ship in the right direction for a certain shit to happen, allegedly. And then also the serial killer. I ain't gonna lie, I thought serial killers got played out in the 90s. Like, I thought we had too much technology nowadays that, you feel me, you got iPhones that be like, find me, and everybody. I'm surprised he didn't show himself doing some shit. You feel me? Everybody is a content creator of what they do, right? I'm surprised he didn't show some shit. But yeah, I want some more details on that case. And yeah, y'all go follow the new party, hit the notification bell. If you want to follow me on my end, Kamal Johnson on YouTube, Ray FBA, appreciate you. Eric, appreciate you. Ryan, I appreciate your mama dribbling my balls like how goddamn Tiana Trump does with her spare time. And May, appreciate you being on topic, but shut the F up talking about we don't need to talk about politics. You could EAD with that comment. But yeah, shout out to everybody on the panel. Appreciate y'all. And yeah, man, white man, y'all got to do better, man. Shit. That's all I got to say. God damn.
All right, Gray. Whoops. I don't want to be up. There you go. It's your turn.
For sure. Great True Crime Wednesdays. I'll definitely be researching more about the Lindsay Clancy case and the serial killer. I'll look into that more to know more information so I can give an educated answer. So it was a great show. I love coming on here and learning about true crime. I've always been a Dateline person, being around women, that's what they want to watch. So that was cool. But yesterday I voted. And I voted in person for the first time in a long time. So we do talk about politics on here. So That was good. So I did vote. Guys, have a good night. We do this every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m.
All right, perfect. Oh, where am I? All right. True Crime Wednesdays. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for just listening to us. Thank you for all the comments. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope to see everybody again next Wednesday for True Crime. I will be hosting your favorite true crime girly, Mia. And I will say, to leapfrog off of what Kamal said, the FBI has stated there are up to 25 to 50 active serial killers operating at any given day in the United States. So keep that in mind and keep yourself safe. And I hope everybody has a good night.
Sisters,
We shall not yield to tyranny.
our cause just we will prevail. The fight
For liberty.
Pain to War captures the spirit of we fight for independence.
With
Welcome to my
that said they were anti-war. I think they said no new wars. Yeah, they voted for a president that was not going to start any new wars. And what's funny to me is that not only were you lied to, not only did this man start this and get out of the
freedom. Greetings from the encampment. The spirit of liberty is strong. We will fight for our rights and our freedom.
Just in order to get the Greater Israel Project accomplished, you have to kill people. That's why it's wrong. Killing people is wrong. Full stop. So you can try to make sense of it with, well, it's a threat and this and that. There's no greater threat than the United States empire.
Vocabulary up, because I'm throwing out words like hubris, acquiesce, verbose. What are you going to do about the dichotomy of the nuance?
To the encampment. For liberty.
And what I've learned, and I'm not a liberal or a Democrat. I voted for Trump the first time, but he's become a politician. He lies like all the other politicians. He deceives like all the other politicians.
And friendly. Soldiers, the enemy is near.
Not only do I love my FBA fam, my Black American fam, my Black people on code, you know, my people that's allies with us, as part of the fam. I love y'all. I love my country too. You feel me?
The cause to victory.
To victory. These pastries are wonderful.
Indeed, but we must stay vigilant.